Hello everybody, jimmyispromo here back again with another awesome video, and in today's video we're going to do a charging comparison. It's a test between wireless PowerShare and the regular charging in terms of accessories with this Cradle. Now both of the watches sitting in front of me have the exact same battery capacity. They're both sitting at 380 milliamp hours. Also, they're both sitting at 2%. So this test is a realistic test to the point where, hey, I'm wearing my watch, I'm getting notified, it's almost dead, it's not dead just yet. And so this is where you're getting those notifications to actually charge it. Now also this phone right over here, the Galaxy S10 Plus, this one's sitting at 94%. And it's at the higher end of 94% because it was just at 95 just a second ago. So this starting point is 94%, and I also want to see the battery drainage if I was to charge this watch. So what'll happen is this right here, the Gear S3 Frontier, will be sitting on the Cradle that came with the watch, along with the cable as well as the power brick. So everything came from box. Comparing it to this one right over here, which is going to be the Galaxy S10 Plus, this one has a 4100 milliamp battery, and again this one's only 380. So again, keeping it realistic, I will not be doing this for an hour or an hour and a half or anything like that. It's really just, hey, I need some juice to my watch, let's do it for 30 minutes, and that is the test. Here is the clock right over here. I'm also going to have a timer running somewhere on the screen, so then everything is able to keep track. So again, this phone is going to be sitting at 94%. How about we turn on the wireless PowerShare, place on the watch. Now we're going to take this one, place it on the Cradle, and then both of these ones should be popping on at pretty much almost the exact same time. And let's just ensure one more time that it is sitting at only 2% on both of these watches. So it looks as if they went up just a little bit by sitting on here. So we'll start this one off over here at 4. This one's sitting off at 3%. I'm going to write that down. Now, again, I do want to mention that wireless PowerShare, a couple things just to answer is, yes, it'll work if you have a couple phones with some cases. Also, if you were to charge pretty much anything with the Qi standard, that QI standard, as well as, let's say that maybe I am charging this phone, to another device, when does it stop? It actually stops at 30%. So if I'm charging another device for maybe an hour, maybe an hour and a half, and my phone goes all the way down to 30%, it'll stop doing wireless PowerShare. Now, this is not going to charge it at the fast charge rate. This is the regular charge rate of wireless charging. So I wanted to see how this one compared with wireless PowerShare with something with a smaller battery, such as these watches, since a lot of people do have the Galaxy watches and Gear S3s and such, versus the little Cradle that is right over here. So now let's kind of speed this up a little bit and let's go for 30 minutes. So at this point, it's been 15 minutes, and basically going from the Frontier, which was on the Cradle, went from 4% all the way up to 20%, which is a 16% increase. The Classic, which was on the wireless PowerShare, went from 3 to 11%, which is an increase of 8%. Now, because it was sitting there for 15 minutes, I wanted to see what happened if I took off the case. So I took off the case to see if it would just go a little bit quicker, and that is why you see that I took both of them off the charger for just a little bit, took off the case, and then replaced them back on to see if there was any type of a increase with the next 15-minute increment. All right, the time is up. Let's see where these are sitting at. So this one right over here is sitting at 21%, while this one over here is at 31%. So let me write this down just 1 second. We're at 21 as well as 39%. So what you saw there was that at one point I did take off this case. I wanted to see maybe if, you know, this little halfway thick case was, you know, taking away from some of the wireless charging capabilities. I really don't know. So let's look at the numbers here. So originally this one started off at 3% and went up to 11%, which is a 8% increase. And that was within the first 15 minutes. Now, after we kept it there for the next 15 minutes, it went from 11% to 21%, which is an increase of 10%. So maybe, possibly, depending on the thickness of a case, this could have been just a little bit higher. So it could have maybe gone up to about 23 or 24% without the case if I would have done it at the very beginning. Now this one over here with the cable charging, the Cradle charging base, went and finished at 39%. This one started off at 4%, and within the first 15 minutes, it went to 20, which was a 16% increase. Now for the next 15 minutes, this one went from the 20 to 39, which means it was a 19% increase, which was pretty much almost very similar to the first 15 minutes, just up by a little bit. So you can see here that if you were to wirelessly charge through the wireless PowerShare onto your accessory, in terms of the Gear S3, for 30 minutes, you will be able to gain from 3% all the way up to 21%, which is really not bad at all. That's an 18% increase total. And this one right over here, if you're to charge it at home with your Cradle base for 30 minutes, it went from 4% all the way up to 39%, which is an increase of 35%. And then for the battery drainage of the Galaxy S10 Plus, it went down from that 94% down to 81%. So it took 13% of this device to charge the Gear S3 Classic, all the way from the 3% up to 21%. So it did drain it by about 13% of charging a wearable. Now, if this one was a watch with a little bit smaller of a battery, it would consume just a little bit less of this phone. And also, if there was probably charging a phone, it'll take quite a bit more of this battery percentage. So it's basically losing percentage pretty much every couple minutes that you're charging something else. So this one right here is going to charge just a little bit slower, but really what's happening here that you really need to think about, the big picture, is this is about to die. Maybe this is something that helps with notifications and possibly getting somewhere and seeing something without pulling out your phone. And so a 22% battery starting off at 3%, this is going to get them home if they're riding a rideshare home. And we're doing something that is a real life scenario, realistic thing. Somebody is not going to charge something for probably over 30 minutes without having to go back to their phone and reading text messages and doing phone calls and things like that. So you still are able to get into the phone and do your text messages back if you want to by picking up your phone and just keeping the watch on the very back of it. But again, 30 minutes, that's a perfect time for a dinner, a brunch, a lunch, a supper, something just to give you about 30 minutes of a charge. So I don't think that's really too bad. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of the wireless PowerShare. I know for a fact it's something that could probably improve to go a little bit faster in the future, but I think that it's something that when you really need that battery life, you will be able to give it off to someone else in a realistic time frame with a realistic increase. So I hope that you guys have liked this video. If you guys did, please give this thing a huge thumbs up. Also, don't forget to hit on subscribe. You can subscribe right over here on the very bottom left-hand side, that little red circle. Share it with your friends and family. And other than that, I'll see you guys on the next one.